everybody, it is Sean Murphy, the Master Mapper. That's my title for today, along with the incredible Mr. Tom Chenault. Now, if your life has been void of Tom Chenault, my apologies. I'm doing my best to change that. And Tom is here now to give us some. We had a conversation last night, and I got to tell you, the passion in this guy, the enthusiasm in this guy, he's been in our profession for a long time. He's got an incredible story, but one of the things that drives him is being able to create connections. He's been doing it since, hell, before I was born. How's that make you feel, Tom?
Exactly right. 100% true.
So, Tom, why are we here? We want to talk a little bit about this void, this gap of connectivity. We're the most followed, the most liked, the most putting out content, and the most lonely people on the planet. Let's talk about that.
So first of all, I want you to think about your grandparents, because I am your grandfather. And you turn 65 years old. All of a sudden, you find yourself societally being written out of the script, which is just unbelievable, because there are so many great people, especially here at COVID, over 65 years old, that are being assigned and relegated to the lazy boy chair. And I turned 65 and started a business. Accidentally, my son came home from Switzerland from a big time job and said, "Dad, I want to digitize you." I did not realize that was God saying, "Tom, you're going to live to be 110 and you're going to be going 1,000 miles an hour till then." Because here I am, 69 now, and I'm more relevant than I've ever been, because I've got the most powerful, most vibrant, most detailed Rolodex or content list, or whatever you call your CRM. I've got the best one on the planet. And I've had it for the last 40 years. And I've been taking notes on people that long, because I am positive one thing, Sean Brown. How's Mason, by the way? How's he doing?
Mason's amazing. He's doing incredible. We got a tournament, a lacrosse tournament this weekend, and his aunt is flying in. So it's absolutely amazing. We're excited.
And how tall is he now?
He's 6'1.5". I'm gonna do the half, because when I say he's 6'2", that's like right there with me.
I know, but how big are his feet?
14, size 14. And
your wife's still working at Schwab?
Yep, she's still there. She's having a blast. She loves working from home. She loves all of the things that she gets to do, and she started her own little side gig economy, doing some stuff through Marketplace and things. So she's beside herself. This is awesome.
So here's the deal, everybody. What Sean Murphy loves me. And what Sean Murphy loves about me is what I remember about Sean. His two favorite subjects in his life are not StreamYard or all these toys he's got and all these gizmos. His two favorite things in his life are his wife and his little boy, Mason, who isn't so little anymore. And what you love about me is what I remember about you. And that's literally every human being. Yet that's the thing we absolutely abuse the most every day of our life, are the people we already know and what we can do to make their lives better. And I am 69. I've been sober 32 years. And my goal in my life every day is anybody I meet, my job is to make their life better having been around me. So that's my whole goal every day, is to make people's lives better. And the only way that I can do that is to be interested in them as human beings and not treat them like prospects, like every other network marketer, every other real estate agent, every other anybody on this planet. Because if you throw that agenda out the window and make their agenda your agenda, Sean, the party's over.
Well, I mean, this is the fundamental of all humanity, right? This is what we've talked about, that has been talked and written on walls and in paint and stone tablets, this ability to connect. And with all of the technology that we have through CRMs and this, that, and the other, and the ability to store information and pull information, we still have to be able to do that one thing, connect. What Zig Ziglar said, the transference of enthusiasm. And so if we don't know about people, right? If we don't know about people, we're not too enthusiastic to talk to them.
If you're stuck in your script, you're not going to be enthusiastic. You're too busy thinking about what you're saying. If you are going, holy mackerel, Sean, that is the best t-shirt I've ever seen. You look like $1 million. What's that microphone hanging out of your head? How do I get one of those? I mean, I'm interested in Sean. I'm not playing a script. He doesn't feel like it's a canned presentation. I just get to talk to Sean about Sean and his life, take notes, remember what he said, and come back and use that in a conversation with him in the future to make his life better. No manipulation, no game show, true authenticity, and you win it every time.
Well, and the challenge is that Jim Rohn said this best, right? I believe it was Jim Rohn. He said, a dull pencil's better than a sharp mind. So how do we use that instant, that moment? Listen, I don't know about you, but stuff floods into my day like this, like this, like this. I've already gotten 7 text messages. People ask me, how do you know Tom Chenault? It's like, how am I going to remember any of this? But you got to be able to do something now with the content. You've got to be able to have it simple, easy, where it's a no-brainer to be able to store that information, because our days are full. So this little hobby thing that you started, that's turned out to be one of them. I mean, Mark Victor Hansen talks about it, said it's the greatest thing. Mitzi Perdue talks about it, says it's the greatest thing. John Milton Fogg talks about it, says it's the greatest thing. See, I'm talking about all the people that's been on Tom's show. You see the smile on his face? Because I got him mapped as well. So how are we going to put all of this together? What have you and Adrian done, put all this together, along with, he's got MIT folks that are working with him. I don't even know what MIT is.
You forgot Rob Sperry. You forgot Fraser Brooks. You forgot Eric Worre. You forgot Richard Brooke. You forgot Mark J. You forgot Todd Falcone. And the reason I'm dropping all those names on you is because every one of those guys are unbelievable trainers, just like Sean. And what you don't know about Sean is I knew of a company, and I'm probably going to get in trouble here, that was looking for a president, looking for somebody that can run the whole show. And that company said, who's the guy you would go out in the world and get to be that guy? And I said, Sean Murphy. So I shouldn't even be on this show. I am a BB on a 4-lane highway in the midst of Sean Murphy. So let's get that perfectly straight. Second thing is, I haven't got the brains God gave a crowbar. And I just want to make that perfectly clear to you, because I've been this hot mess for 32 years, and it's worked out because I fired my brain and I hired my heart. That's what I did. So my son has seen his dad. My son graduated summa cum laude from Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas, which is the Harvard of the West. And he was a bright kid in finance. He went to work for a big tech company, became the director of international finance, 30 years old, making a boatload of dough with 3 kids, living in Zurich, Switzerland. And every time he got a raise, they took a little bit more of his soul. And he knew that it was just a matter of time before he was the president of that company or the CFO, but he would also be divorced or worse. So he said, I got to get out of there. And he started thinking about me. And how did my dad do it? And my dad did it because I've got rich connection, just like Harvey McKay, just like Mark Victor Hansen, just like Bob Bodine from The Power of Who. But what came out of it was he said, my dad is a hot mess. I can't duplicate him, but I could digitize what he does. So he came home. He called up and says, I'm going to quit my job. I've got an idea. I want to digitize you. And he built an app around my concepts, which is about 10% of the show. The app is only an app. It's a piece of technology in your phone that is really, really good, by the way. It looks like this, and I'm not going to go with all the screen shares and all the snazzy stuff that my friend Sean does because I don't want to. My phone looks like this. And I get up every morning. Today I've got 20 follow-ups that I have to do to stay in integrity with my database. They're right there in front of me, and I'm going to touch it. I'm going to touch them somehow. I'm going to touch those people with a text. I'm going to touch them with a phone call. I'm going to touch them with something on Facebook Messenger, something on WhatsApp. Somehow I'm going to touch all those people. And those people are going to flip out because they're remembered. And I would have never, with my own mind, been able to remember them. But the magic of contact mapping, and Sean's trying to show you everything that it is because he thinks I'm doing a lousy job, but I'm really not. So we're going to stay with what he's doing and what I'm doing, and 2 + 2 is going to equal 10. But what's going to go here? What I do is I meet you, and we talk, and I say, man, let's take a selfie together. So we take a selfie, and we wrap our hands around each other. We take it. I've got a picture of Rhonda Bird Parker. I got a picture of Sean Murphy. I got a picture of everybody. We're all in the same picture. I have that so that I have the picture because the app asked me, do you have a picture of Sean? And then it asked for his phone number. I hit save. That's where you guys always stop. And then another button pops up and it says, what do you know about Sean Murphy? And I go, man, I just got a beautiful wife. She works at Schwab. He is an icon. He's fluent in Spanish. He's trained all over the world. His son Mason is an incredible kid. He plays a musical instrument. He is 6'1" and has a 14 shoe. The kid's going to be 11 feet tall. Nicest kid you're ever going to want to meet. And I put all that data in there. And then I hit save one more time. So when it hits save, it says, when am I going to follow Sean up? And I always put tomorrow because I want people to, and then I hit them with, it was nice to meet you. Really, really nice to meet you. I'm going to comment on something in the interview, like the size of Mason's shoe, and then I'm going to see what the response looks like. If he loves me, that's wonderful. If he doesn't respond, that's wonderful. And then, because the next day I did that, I'm going to put the follow-up out a month. And if he follows up way before that, we start a dialogue. If not, that's okay with me too, because I'm going to follow him up in a month, and then I'm going to look at how he responded. And then I'm going to set it to 3 months based on the whole thing. If he hasn't done it, I'm going to hit him again in 3 months. And he's going to finally remember this Tom Chenault remembers him and cares about me. So finally he's going to call me on the phone to see what the heck's going on. And he's going to call, and I'm going to go, I don't even remember who Sean Murphy is. I'm going to bounce into the notes. Oh, he's the guy down in Texas with the son named Mason and the wife at Schwab. Boom, we talk on the phone for 2 seconds. I bring those two things up. We're related, and the rest is history. Want to take this one step farther. I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous. A guy named Steve calls me a couple days ago. Says, I can't get life insurance because I'm an alcoholic. And you know an alcoholic life insurance agent that would understand what I'm going through. Well, how many of you know that person? I didn't have anybody on the top of my head in a million years. I popped in life insurance AA into my phone. Up pops my friend Sam from Northwestern Mutual, who has both of those components, sober and life insurance. I Googled my brain, literally. I had no idea I wasn't trying to think of Sam's name. I was trying to think if I knew anybody that fit that determiner, which is, by the way, not a word. And at the end of the day, up pops Sam. I threw Sam and Steve into a group text. They're meeting today at 10 on the phone. I just made the universe a little better. I didn't make a nickel in money, but I monetized it with goodwill. That's all I do all day long. I'm the contact mapper king. What do you think of that?
Well, Tom, one of the things that's so impressive about that is that right now, in all of the studies and the research that I've been doing on the brain and the human potential and human capacity, we've reached this limit of our surge capacity, our ability to push through one more time. If somebody says the word pivot one more time, I'm going to jump out a ground floor window because I don't want to hurt myself. But this constant idea of pivoting causes us people are now spinning in circles. And the hardest thing that most people have is the ability to reach out to help. Imagine if the next time you have a conversation, you're going to reach out to somebody, but in that desire to have that conversation, you hear something they need, and you go into that source that you have called your experience, your life experience, your contact, your database. This thing is now worth millions and millions of dollars. And if we're not using it that way, we're missing out on a huge opportunity. So the fact that you made the world a little bit better, I'm going to go into my the what people a lot of times call the woo-woo side of what I do. The karmic result of what you just did speeds up the velocity of energy of joy that we all talk about in finance, the velocity of money and the cost of money. What's the velocity of joy? What's the velocity of love that you're putting out into the world? The reason that Tom and I, there's no reason for Tom and I to ever know each other. The industry we're in, MLM, mentors leading mentors, brought us together. And so, Tom, I just love what you're doing. And I really want people to go out and have a conversation, because this idea of the contact mapping, you guys have taken this in the last year and not 10x'd it, 20x'd it, 30x'd it. What you've done, you made the offering free to get started. You put in something in there for people who are serious mappers and want to create tremendous, right? What's that thing we all say? You can determine the size of your net worth by the size of your what?
Yeah, network.
Your network. So what's next?
Okay, so what I have found, and I knew this intuitively, but I didn't know it definitively until Adrian and Sean mentioned the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which is a pretty good college. It's in Boston, MIT. And Dr. Rick Manelius was a poor kid who lived in upstate New York, who ended up getting recruited as an undergrad to go to MIT. Then he got his master's degree. Then he got his doctorate. And now he's a scientist. And he's sitting in a coffee shop in Longmont, Colorado, listening in on a conversation I'm having at another table. And at the end of the conversation, there was a farmer there. He goes, "That's a bunch of hogwash. No one, I've got a flip phone. No one wants that technology." And this guy, Rick, looked over at me and says, "You know what? I think that Salesforce, I think LinkedIn, I think Facebook, I think all those CRMs really need interrupted. And I think what you've got done right is going to interrupt those." And we're like, I'm going, "Who are you?" He goes, "My name's Rick Manelius. I live in Denver. And I live in Longmont. I work for a computer company down in Denver. I'm their CTO. And I go, "Why are you in Longmont?" He goes, "Because it's the greatest city in the world." He subsequently has moved to Oklahoma, for the record. But at the end of the day, this guy ends up hooking up with Adrian, realizing that we're doing important work. And he works now as Adrian's partner in contact mapping, because you're being data mined every day. If the product is free, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, if the product is free, you are the product. And what we are trying to do is protect you and your database forever. So I want you to think about your company CRM, whatever company you're in.
Hang on. There was a little bit of gold that just dripped out of your mouth.
Finally.
If the product is free, who's the product?
You are.
Now, I've known Tom for a long time, and we've had so many private conversations. That hit me like a ton of bricks. I don't know about you, but if the product is free, what's the product? Wow.
True story. So inside of that, you got to think that through and say, what are they doing? So all of you have gotten kicked off of Facebook at one time or another for a week, and you just about freaked out because all your contacts were there and they're gone now. Twitter, lots of people are having, especially in this election season, having problems with Twitter and seeing people kicked off for inappropriate posts and whatever it might be. And in your company, I am Tom Chenault. That's who I am. Until I die, I'm Tom Chenault. I'm not my company. As much as I love the products, as much as I love the comp plan, as much as I love everything, I'm Tom Chenault. And I want my database to go to my grave with me. And the only way I can do that is have it under my own control. And if all my prospects, everything that I've got are in my company CRM and not in my own database, God forbid something happened to that company or I leave that company, because I'm leaving all my contacts behind too. So I'm just telling you, this is the most important thing you're ever going to do, is go to contactmapping.com/secret sauce and just download the free app. We've got a premium for $30 a month. that lets you scrape off of Facebook and do all kinds of things inside of Google that are going to blow your mind. We give you access to personal onboarding and all kinds of stuff for that $30. And then beyond that, we have courses to really teach you the science and the art of human relationship as it relates to whatever profession you're in. Because let's face it, as good a person as we want to be, we also want to make some money. And I want to have both of those present for you. So I'm not going to try to be the Landmark Forum. I'm not going to try to be Cy. I'm not going to try to be Michael Burnoff. I'm not going to try to be Robert White, any of those icons of personal, Warner Earhart. We're going to show you that everything that occurs in your life happens on the heart side of the equation. And to get to the heart side of the equation, you've got to do that rigorous self-inquiry where you're looking at yourself like, no kidding. And you're saying, man, I'm going to be a better human being. And you start peeling it back, figuring out what it is to have people not believe what's coming out of your mouth. The second thing we teach you to do is share that with other people. Share it like authentically with vulnerability. The third thing we teach you to do is find a tribe that you belong to that belongs to you. And that's my whole goal in life. Because I'm positive of one thing, Sean Brown, above all, that if people don't trust you, if they don't feel safe with you, if they don't feel like you love them, and they don't feel like they belong in your tribe, if all four of those aren't present, they may sign up, but they are not enrolled. And my job over everything else is to teach people to have all four of those things present. And when one of them isn't, and you feel one of your relatives pushing back or one of your friends, and you go with that timeless, trite cliche called NFL, no friends left, it's far deeper than that. You lost the trust of one of your friends. One of your friends don't feel safe with you. One of your friends don't feel like you love them, or they don't feel like they're in your tribe. That's why they didn't do it. They gave you an excuse. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. This is a pyramid scheme. Those are all lies. One of those four wasn't present, and that's why they didn't move. Because if you, Sean Murphy, told me to jump on an airplane today and fly down to Texas because you needed somebody to make a beef stroganoff, even though I would know nothing about beef stroganoff, I would read how to make it on the airplane. I'd be down there at your house for you and your wife and Mason, and I'd be making that beef stroganoff because those four things are present between you and I would do anything for you. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. And I think
sorry.
it makes absolute sense. And here's the thing. My daddy said, if it makes sense, it'll eventually make dollars. So this relation, and we've never been in business together, but you know, there's no telling what'll happen. But I can tell you, we're in the most powerful business that exists, and that's the one of building people. We don't build checks, we build people, and we happen to be smart enough that when we build people, there's a form of compensation that exists around that as we begin to help people. So, Tom, we've been going 23 minutes. What else would you like to share with some folks? What would you want to wrap this up with and kind of put a bow on it so that people can really begin to understand the power of this? Because when you start to have that connection, when people reach out to you for who you are, not what you have, the world changes forever.
I'm in Richard Brooks' latest book about contact mapping. It just came out a couple of days ago. I'm part of Eric Worre's. There's only 14 network marketers all over the world that are going to be speaking on recruiting and enrollment to that 1 million person crowd that Eric's doing next on the 11th of November. How can a train wreck like me, who doesn't have any of the click funnels or any of the widgets, nothing. I didn't even know what this technology Sean is using is. All I am is a guy with a phone that I can make people feel better about themselves than literally anybody on the planet can. And if that is an enticement for you, I don't know what to tell you, because we can do what no one else can. Those guys all have the skills. I don't have those skills. What I have is the heart. I fired my brain. I hired my heart. I love like crazy, then love more. And this technology and this technique will work in your life on every level, for Thanksgiving, for your business, for your soccer team, for your neighborhood, for your city. We're surrounded right now by people trying to figure out how not to like each other. I am surrounded in my life by people that are astounded how much I love them, no matter where they stand. I'm very, very proud of that. Don't you have some people? I mean, this is a big audience you've got. Don't you have anybody that can talk about contact mapping? So
I do. Speaking of somebody who truly loves you, ta-da! They just jumped in. They were sitting in the green room in the back, and they're going, "Pick me, pick me, pick me."
Me.
For everybody, this is Rhonda Bird Parker. Rhonda Bird Parker's from East Texas. She's an amazing soul. I've gotten to know her now for a little over 2 years, and in that time, I've watched her grow. But one of the things that I love is that I get to introduce these two folks, and she's got some things to share about contact mapping that's helped little old her without any Wi-Fi, without any. She got no Wi-Fi at her house. That's how far out in East Texas she lives, brother.
All I have is my cell phone, and that's all I can use. And I'm going to be totally honest with you, Tom. I did not utilize contact mapping at first like I should have, because it was just another one of those apps is what I thought. That's what I thought. And because you and your amazing son still reach out to me personally, like y'all listen, I'm like nothing in the world of this MLM world yet. Okay. People like Tom Chenault and Adrian Chenault and Sean Murphy aren't supposed to be circling around me. Okay. I'm Lily's Texas out here in nowhere world. And these guys message me. They send me text messages and they make me laugh when they send them to me. But you know what it does for me? I realize I got noticed by honestly someone that really shouldn't be noticing me. And he's the only one in this caliber of people that continues to do this on a regular basis. The only one. Sean has to put up with me because I won't let him, breathe without me breathing the same oxygen he does, because I chase him around all over the place. Thank God, Tom, you don't have to have that kind of relationship with me. But you keep in touch with me. And then the other day, I didn't even know this, contact mapping does these weekly meetings. And I think it's twice a day, and I don't know how often. I got to find out for sure. And you can go into that. But Adrian messages me and he was like, "Hey, Rhonda, we're going to get on a Zoom at this time if you want to learn a little bit more about contact mapping. I've got support and I've got people that do this." And I'm like, what? So I jump on the Zoom, and lo and behold, oh my gosh, there's the support person. There's Adrian. Tom, you were on there for a few minutes, and then there's all these people, and they're talking about how to support each other. And they love on me, and I'm just this perfect stranger. But it's because Adrian took time out of his busy day to go, hey, it might be something you're going to be interested in. And I listened because why? Because he's messaged me before. Yeah. And every time he messages me or every time he calls me, he tells me, "Hey, I love you." I'm like, really? I thought I was the only kind of big-hearted person. And so because of that, Tom, I am utilizing contact mapping more. I'm like, God, what an idiot. Hello, someone who has made it to where I'm trying to get to, and they tell me use this, and I'm like, no, I know better than he does. Finally, it sunk in. It sunk in what you guys have developed. So I'm just so, I don't know. I'm so happy to be here and to get to, oh my gosh, and get to see you. Tom, hold on, because if you ever thought I was a ball of fire, I'm like nothing compared to that one right there.
Who is this little leprechaun? Who is that, John?
This is Daniela. This is Daniela Jukic. She's up in Ohio, and because of contact mapping, here in the last 3-4 days, she's put almost 18 people into her company, into her product line, because of her ability to follow up, and now she's using it tremendously to follow up with 18 people. Do you know how easy that is going to be for her? So I wanted to introduce Daniela because she's just this amazing fire plug that's she's just Daniela, meet Tom Chenault.
Wow.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
I am tremendous, man. What a little ball of fire you are in Ohio with a great, if I had a name, a cool name like that, I would be so rich. So congratulations.
That's awesome. Thank you. Oh my God. I gotta admit that I was watching the live on Facebook and I'm sitting there and I was trying to pop up and I'm like, aw. Then I go in our group chat and I was like, oh my God, I was invited. So I'm super excited to meet you because I've heard nothing but amazing things about you. And I've been using contact mapping for, like Sean said, for my customers. Sean just did an amazing thing for us. We were able to bring in new customers, and through contact mapping, I'm able to make sure that I follow up with everybody and make sure that I'm doing my part. Amazing.
Well, here's the deal. Once you start, and Richard Brook and those guys talk about it, if you understand this business, it's driven by customers. And if you become the best customer service person on the planet by following up, how do you like the products? Here's a new product, you win. Then you've got your leaders that really need to be followed up on and loved. And Adrian, a couple of days ago, did a piece on the difference between recognition and appreciation. And I get all the recognition I ever want to have. I get more recognition than I deserve. But I don't get much authentic appreciation. And I got to thinking about that a lot. And the reason I probably don't get much authentic appreciation is because I probably don't give out enough authentic appreciation. So I've got a new place to work from, and those 18 people you just brought in your business, putting all the bull that, the stuff we put on Facebook, likes and pictures and stuff like that, is wonderful. But when you step into their life and their heart and you look them right in the eye and say, I appreciate you, that go with your spouse, with your kids, with your neighbors, with your mom and dad. Unbelievable what happens. So think about that a little bit too, you guys, because I'm telling you, this app and this not the technology, but the actual application, because I finally realized that app is unbelievably great, but it's only about 10% of the deal. Once you get the hang of this, you're never alone again. Here I am, 69 years old, never been more relevant because I care about people and I generate those relationships. So I'm never alone. And in this time of COVID and fear and all the stuff going on in the world, so many people, I just lost Lee Perry, my good friend, Sean Newham. Alcohol, he had no place to go but the graveyard because he was so alone. I don't want anybody to have that happen. And for that, my phone number is 720-840-7222. And I'm dealing with a complete crisis in the world with drug and alcohol addiction. And if you know people that I can have a conversation with that really, really want to talk to somebody that's been there and done that, you need to call me. So I didn't mean to throw that infomercial in for AA, but I did.
You know me, anytime you throw that in, I'm totally honored and appreciative, because if I find somebody that's got some questions, the first thing I do is get them on the horn with you. So I love it. Hey, folks, well, there you go. There's a little bit of information on contact mapping. Become a master mapper. And you know what? That thing that you're looking for, that future pull that you're looking for in the frontier, that future that you're looking for, the dream boards you're working on, your self-talk you're working on, all of that stuff seems to fall away if you just say to somebody, hey, I appreciate you, because then the universe will bring you the way to appreciate more, because it loves that. It will put the velocity of appreciation back into your life, and it'll allow you to circle in time and space with amazing souls like Tom Chenault and Adrian Chenault and Daniela Jukic and Rhonda Bird Parker and little old farm boy me from Ohio. So I love you all. And Tom, what closing words, brother?
Yeah. Rhonda, I don't know if you remember this, Sean, but the little angel that tied us together was little Leslie Hebert. So, I mean, never forget anybody. That's all I'm trying to teach you to do. You can put all the connections and why we're connected. And remember when we were sitting down there and that guy hugged Sean with the big perfume?
Stop. Stop.
No names. And it was so funny. And so, that was awesome. And we just all, you got to put those memorable moments in the map because you just saw what happened to their face because it was a memorable moment that can never be forgotten. But we do it. But I am telling you, that's what I am. I've got a doctorate in that. And Adrian and I can teach you. And Elizabeth and Rick and Jason. Love you. Thanks.
There you go, folks. Have an amazing day. I'm Sean Murphy along with
Tom Chenault.
And Rhonda Bird Parker.
And Daniela
We'll
Jukic.
see you all.
There we go.
Woo, we got it. Woo. And we'll see y'all where? At the next event.
event.
Love y'all. Hang on, everybody. Don't go away. Don't go away. I'm just going to end the broadcast. Hang on. Don't go nowhere.